She told me that I wasn't enough and now she wants a piece of everything. I still remember the way she looked at me when she left. Not angry. Not sad. Just indifferent. That was the part that cut the deepest. I was 22. Skinny. Broke. 1 semester away from graduating and drowning in student loans. I worked 2 part-time jobs, bartending and stacking boxes at a warehouse overnight. And I loved her. God, I loved her. I thought we were in it together. That we were building something out of the chaos we both came from. I used to joke that we were 2 scraps making a whole. She laughed once and said, "Yeah, but some scraps are just trash." I thought she was being sarcastic. Turns out, she meant it. She left on a Thursday morning. No fight. No drama. Just a note on the kitchen counter next to the empty coffee pot and the cracked mug she knew was my favorite. "This isn't working. I need more. You're not it." That was it. Not even signed. I stared at those words until the sun went down, and when it did, something in me cracked, not with grief, but with clarity. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I just deleted her number, tossed the mug in the trash, and went to work. And work I did. Like a man possessed. No more half-assing papers. No more skipping class because I was tired. I graduated top of my class. Landed a job in marketing 2 weeks later, nothing flashy, but it was a foot in the door. I moved into a shoebox apartment with peeling walls and a leaky shower head. But I hit the gym like a religion. Ate tuna and rice, slept 5 hours a night, and saved every damn cent. I watched YouTube tutorials on finance and branding while other guys my age were out drinking or swiping on dating apps. 3 years later, I had my own brand consultancy. 4 years later, a 6-figure contract changed everything. 5 years later, I bought a loft with floor-to-ceiling windows and a wine fridge I didn't know how to use. And then, last Thursday, exactly 6 years after she left, I got a DM from her. "Hey, been a long time. Just wanted to say congrats on everything. You always had that spark. Hope you're doing good, smiley face." There it was. Smiley face and all. Like she hadn't crushed me like an ant beneath her boot. My heart didn't skip. My hands didn't shake. I just stared at the screen and thought, now it begins. Because what she didn't know was, I'd been watching. Not obsessively. Just enough. I saw her Instagram updates over the years. The travel selfies. The boyfriends. The breakup posts disguised as self-love mantras. She had one of those healing pages now. Tarot cards and quotes about letting go of toxicity. Cute. But there was something else. A post I'd seen from a mutual friend's story just 2 weeks ago. She was at a wedding, alone. A little softer. A little sadder. And she looked directly at the camera as if she was searching for something. Someone. And now she was here, in my inbox, smiling. I didn't know what I wanted to say. Not yet. But I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't reply to her message. Not right away. I wanted to sit with it. Feel the power shift. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't the one left guessing. I wasn't the one staring at a phone hoping for something. Now I had the control, and it was intoxicating. I went about my week like normal. Meetings. Gym. Strategy calls. But every so often, I'd glance at her name sitting there in my DMs, waiting. And each time, I smiled a little. It wasn't about revenge. I wasn't planning some movie-style takedown. I didn't want to hurt her. I just wanted to show her. Show her what she walked away from when she decided I wasn't it. That weekend, I posted a story, just a quiet dinner with my business partner at an upscale rooftop lounge. Candlelight, skyline views, clinking glasses. I didn't tag anyone. Didn't say a word. But I knew she'd see it. And she did. 20 minutes later, she liked the story. Then came another message. Wow. That view. You look amazing. Would love to catch up sometime if you're around. There it was. The door she was nudging open. Part of me wanted to slam it shut. But a bigger part of me? I wanted her to walk through it and see everything she gave up. So I answered. Hey, yeah. It's been a while. Coffee maybe? We met at this little spot downtown, one of those boutique cafes with velvet chairs and overpriced oat milk. I got there early. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to see her walk in. See if I'd still recognize her. When she did, I almost laughed. She looked normal. Beautiful, still. But not like the girl I used to lose sleep over. Her hair was shorter. Her smile was hesitant. She wore a jacket 2 sizes too big, and for a moment, she looked like someone trying to hide. She hugged me like we were old friends. Told me I looked amazing. I said thanks and kept it polite. We talked for over an hour. Surface stuff at first. Work. Travel. Family. Then came the confessions. She told me how the last few years hadn't been what she imagined. The guys she dated never lasted. Some cheated. Some just vanished. She said she realized she'd been chasing spark instead of substance. I guess I didn't know what I had back then, she said quietly, eyes dropping to her half-empty cup. I didn't say a word. I didn't have to. The silence did the heavy lifting. Then she said it. I still think about you. About us. I was so young and stupid. And you really made it. I'm happy for you, I am. But part of me always wondered what would have happened if I'd stayed. And just like that, the moment I'd imagined for years was here. But something felt off. Like she was reading from a script. Like she'd rehearsed every line in front of her bathroom mirror. Still, I kept it calm. Sometimes things fall apart so better things can fall together, I said. She smiled, but her eyes twitched just slightly. And in that flicker, I saw something unexpected. Regret? No. Desperation. The thing about desperation is, it's easy to mask with charm. With soft smiles and flirty comments. But if you've been burned before, you learn to spot it under the gloss. And sitting across from me, she was practically glowing with it. She asked about my business. About my apartment. About whether I was seeing anyone. Each question was dipped in curiosity but wrapped in calculation. Like she was mapping out a way back into my life. I kept things vague. Told her I'd been busy. Focused. Content. She leaned in and lowered her voice. I was hoping maybe we could start over, just as friends, maybe more. I've grown. I've learned a lot. And being with you again. It would feel like coming home. Coming home? That line almost made me laugh out loud. She was the one who walked away. She was the one who traded 10-cent dreams for dollar store sparks, thinking someone shinier would love her better. And now? Now she was circling back because the world didn't deliver what it promised. I didn't answer right away. I just looked at her. Not at the girl I remembered, but the woman she'd become. The years had added layers to her face. Lines near her eyes, a stiffness in her jaw. The kind of changes that didn't come from age, but from bitterness. From closing too many doors behind you. And maybe this is cruel, but in that moment, I felt nothing. Not hate. Not anger. Not sadness. Just, nothing. Later that night, I told my best friend about the meetup. Let me guess, he said, she wants back in. I nodded. He let out a whistle. You gonna let her? I paused. I haven't decided yet. But I had. That same night, I got another message. This one from a mutual friend of ours. Someone I hadn't spoken to in a while. Hey, I know it's none of my business, but just be careful with her. She's been telling people you were the one who couldn't move on. That you've been begging her to meet. I stared at the screen for a long time. So that was the game. She wasn't trying to rebuild something. She was trying to control the narrative. Make it look like I had chased her. That I'd been the broken one all these years. And something inside me snapped. I wasn't mad. I was insulted. I built my life from rubble. Turned rock bottom into a foundation. And now she was trying to rewrite history for her own convenience? No. Not this time. The next morning, I invited her to my place. She came dressed up. Makeup just right. Perfume clouding the air before she even walked in. She looked around the penthouse with wide eyes and gave a little impressed whistle. Wow. You've done well for yourself. I smiled. Thanks. Have a seat. She sat. Crossed her legs. Waited. I wanted to show you something, I said. I walked into my study and came back with a leather folder. Inside it? The very first business plan I ever wrote. Scribbled in pen. Budget projections. Branding ideas. Notes in the margins. Her handwriting was there too. From when she used to believe in me. I placed it on the table between us. You remember this? I asked. She nodded slowly. You helped me build the first version of what I am now. Then you left. She didn't speak. So here's the thing, I continued. I don't need you now. But you needed to see this. Because you didn't just leave me, you left this. Her smile cracked. And for the first time, she was the one with nothing to say. She stared down at the folder like it might bite her. Her fingers twitched, like she wanted to touch it, maybe even flip through the pages, but she didn't. Because deep down, she knew. This wasn't nostalgia. This was a reckoning. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't gloat. I just sat across from her with the calm of a man who had nothing left to prove. Why now? I finally asked. She looked up, startled, like she hadn't expected the question. I don't know. Maybe because I realized what I lost. I nodded. You mean who you lost? Her eyes flinched. She tried to pivot, told me she'd made mistakes, that she was confused back then, that she didn't know how to handle love that deep. She blamed her upbringing. Her insecurities. Her fear of feeling small beside someone with big dreams. I didn't think you'd make it, she whispered. There it was. The truth, raw and unfiltered. She didn't just leave because she needed to find herself. She left because she didn't believe in me. And now that I'd defied her expectations, now that I was everything she thought I'd never be, she wanted back in. But not out of love. Out of regret. I stood up and walked to the window, staring out over the city. My city. My creation. And for a long beat, I didn't speak. Then I turned back to her. I'm not angry, I said. But I'm not stupid either. She stood too. Her voice got sharper, more desperate. So that's it? You're just, what? Done? After everything we've been through? What we've been through? I repeated, laughing bitterly. You mean the part where you walked out and never looked back? I made a mistake. No. You made a choice. You don't get to rebrand it as a mistake just because it didn't work out. And just like that, the mask dropped. Her voice lost its softness. Her posture stiffened. And suddenly, The woman who'd walked in wearing perfume and false hope was gone, replaced by the girl who always needed to be in control. "Fine," she snapped. "I just thought I'd give you the chance to forgive. Clearly, you're still bitter." "I'm not bitter," I said, walking to the door and holding it open. "I'm healed. That's the difference." She hesitated. Her eyes darted around the room like she might find some leverage, some hook to pull me back. But there was none. I was untouchable now, and she knew it. She stepped into the hallway, then turned back. "You'll regret this." I smiled. "I regret ever doubting myself because of you. But that ended the day I stopped needing your validation." The door clicked shut behind her. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel vengeful. I felt clean. A week passed. Then 2. I didn't hear from her. Until the messages started coming in from old acquaintances. Screenshots. Snippets. She was talking again, this time spinning a new story. That I used her. That I owed her success. That I was cold, cruel, broken. I should have expected it. People like her never leave quietly. But I didn't respond. Instead, I focused on the gala. My company had hit a major milestone, and the team had planned a celebration. Big venue. Bigger crowd. And someone important was coming to speak. A woman named Savannah. A rising figure in finance with her own empire. Brilliant. Grounded. No bullshit. And the moment she stepped onto the stage, something in me shifted. Savannah didn't just walk onto the stage, she owned it. Crisp black suit. Natural curls pulled back. Eyes like she saw straight through you, but not in a cruel way, in a way that made you sit up straighter, like you wanted to be seen. I watched her from the edge of the room, half listening to the applause. She wasn't just successful. She was respected. Everything about her said power, but none of it felt performative. No smoke, no mirrors. Just presence. And when she spoke, people shut up and listened. After her speech, there was a mixer on the rooftop. Glass railings, string lights, city skyline glowing behind us like a promise. I had my usual circle around me, VPs, investors, board members. But my eyes kept drifting. She stood alone for a moment, sipping from a stemless glass, surveying the party like a general reading a battlefield. I walked over. "Impressive speech," I said. She turned to me with a small smile. "You're not bad at building empires yourself." That stopped me for a second. "You know who I am?" She nodded. "I don't waste time walking into a room blind." That's when I knew I liked her. We talked for 20 minutes. Then 40. Then the party started thinning and the string lights flickered and the air turned cooler, and I realized I hadn't even touched my drink. She asked sharp questions, the kind that made me think. She told better stories. She didn't fawn over success. She challenged it. And I wasn't bored for a single second. By the time she left, she said, "Send me your latest quarterly. Let's grab coffee. Business talk." I said, looking forward to it. But I was already hooked. The next few weeks were different. I found myself checking my phone more often. Smiling at dumb things. Anticipating texts that weren't about deals or logistics. Just two sharp people throwing thoughts back and forth like knives. Then she invited me to an art exhibit. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't even big. Just a converted warehouse with raw walls and moody lighting. But the pieces? Brutal. Honest. Stunning. There was one painting, a single figure in a crowd of ghosts. Vibrant red coat. Eyes wide open while everyone else's were shut. I must have stared at it for 10 minutes. She leaned in and whispered, "Feels familiar, doesn't it?" I turned to her. Too familiar. That night, we didn't kiss. We didn't even touch. But I drove home with my chest buzzing like I'd been set on fire from the inside. For the first time in years, I wasn't haunted by my past. I was pulled forward. But as things got deeper with Savannah, something strange started happening. Anonymous emails. Blocked number calls. Weird silence on the other end. At first, I shrugged it off. Old business rivals, maybe. Some spam bot. But then Savannah called me late one night. Her voice was clipped. "I just got a message from someone claiming to know you," she said. "They warned me you were dangerous." I felt my jaw lock. Did they say who they were? No. Just signed it as someone who knows the real you. That phrase hit like a slap. Because years ago, she used to say that to me. My ex. That was her favorite line. I sat there in the dark, phone to my ear, stomach twisting. Savannah waited. "Well?" she asked. And I said, "I think my past just decided it's not done with me." What came next? Let's just say, the real war hadn't even started. I didn't want to believe it. After all this time, could she really still be lurking in the shadows of my life? Still bitter, still watching. But the signs were unmistakable. The email had the same writing cadence. The way she used ellipses. The passive-aggressive flair masked as concern. I used to get texts like that when we were together. "You do you, just don't expect me to be waiting around forever." That same venom dressed up as maturity. I knew it was her. I didn't tell Savannah right away. I needed to be sure. So I started tracing the breadcrumbs. Reopened old social accounts I hadn't touched in years. Checked who'd viewed my LinkedIn recently. Looked at IP logs on my business website. She wasn't exactly hiding. One of the IPs matched a location in our old hometown. Same neighborhood. Same street. And then I found it. A burner Instagram account, anonymous name, no followers, but every post was clearly about me. Blurred photos from events I'd attended. Quotes about liars. Captions like, "Success doesn't erase the past." It wasn't just stalking. It was a slow-burn smear campaign, aimed at whoever got close. I confronted her the only way I knew would work. I sent a single message. "You're still watching. But this time, I see you too." No response. But the account went private an hour later. 2 nights later, Savannah asked me to dinner. Not a date, a conversation. She booked a quiet table at a rooftop place overlooking the city skyline. When I arrived, she was already sipping wine. Eyes serious. Calm, but cold. "Who is she?" she asked. I sighed. "Her name's Kayla. We were high school sweethearts. We lived together for 2 years after graduation. She left me, said I wasn't ambitious enough." Savannah raised an eyebrow. "She clearly regrets that now." "It wasn't just regret," I said. "It was like she needed me to fail. So when I didn't, she started looking for cracks." "Why didn't you tell me from the beginning?" "Because I thought she was gone," I admitted. "And maybe I didn't want you thinking I was still carrying baggage." Savannah nodded slowly, then leaned forward. "I don't scare easy," she said. "But I don't tolerate ghosts either." That was her warning. And it was fair. The next morning, I woke up to an email from my assistant with the subject line, "Urgent, meeting cancelled." Kayla showed up. She'd come to my office. Uninvited. Walked in like she still had a right to be there. My assistant, bless her, blocked her before she could reach my door. But she said Kayla looked off. Unhinged, maybe. Eyes wild, voice sweet like syrup. I watched the security footage myself. She looked too calm. Like someone auditioning for the role of concerned ex. She held a tote bag close to her chest and kept glancing at the elevator like she expected someone else to be arriving. That's when I realized something terrifying. She wasn't just there to talk to me. She was waiting for Savannah. I called security and doubled the protocols. Called Savannah too, told her not to come near the building for the next week. But it was too late. Because Kayla had already taken the next step. She'd found Savannah's personal number, and sent her a file. Photos. Screenshots. Private messages, from me, years old, taken out of context, spliced together to look like I'd been playing both sides. And the worst part? Savannah wasn't picking up her phone anymore. I must have called Savannah 8 times. Texted her more. Nothing delivered. I started questioning everything. Did Kayla really get to her? Was she buying into the lies? By 10 p.m., I drove to Savannah's apartment. Her car was there. Lights on. But she didn't answer the door. A neighbor passed by and gave me that look, half curiosity, half warning. I realized I probably looked insane, standing there in a hoodie, fists clenched, pacing outside someone's door in the middle of the night. Then the door opened. Savannah stood there, wrapped in a blanket, no expression. Her eyes weren't red, but they looked like they'd been hollowed out. She didn't say anything, just stepped aside to let me in. I saw the screenshots, she finally said, once the door clicked shut. I sat down slowly. And? I know they're edited, she replied. She overplayed her hand. Relief washed over me like a wave, but then she added, still, why didn't you tell me it could get this dangerous? That stung. I tried to explain. The history. The toxicity. The manipulation Kayla was capable of. The reason I'd built walls so high around that chapter of my life. I didn't think she'd come back, I said. Let alone come after the one person who's meant something real to me since. Savannah just stared. She said she loved you. That she made a mistake. That she was the reason you became who you are. She was the reason I almost didn't, I shot back. She left me when I had nothing. She didn't believe in me. She buried me. Savannah was silent again. Then she said something I didn't expect. She came to my job. I blinked. What? She showed up. Pretended to be a client. Booked a consult under a fake name. Sat across from me for 15 minutes before she revealed who she was. I was speechless. Savannah kept going, voice low and sharp. She told me everything. How you changed. How you play the long game. How you always had a backup plan. She's trying to gaslight you, I said. You know that, right? I know, she said. But she's also unwell. And obsessive. And desperate. The next morning, we went to the police. Restraining order filed. But here's the thing about people like Kayla, paper boundaries don't scare them. Not really. Not when they've already crossed the emotional line so far back it's just a memory. The texts didn't stop. If anything, they escalated. This time, she sent them to me. Photos from years ago. Us on a beach trip, her wearing my hoodie, arms wrapped around me. Remember this, she wrote. Back when you used to look at me like I mattered? Then a voice memo. Just her breathing for 5 seconds. Then, you never really got over me. You just got distracted. That was the moment I knew I couldn't reason with her. This wasn't heartbreak. This was obsession, wrapped in nostalgia and dipped in poison. Savannah stayed with her sister for a few days. I tightened my security. Changed numbers. Took a break from work. But even in the quiet, the paranoia lingered. Was she still out there? Watching? Plotting? Then came the twist I never saw coming. A package. No return address. Inside, a flash drive. Labeled only with one word, truth. The flash drive sat on my desk like a ticking bomb. I didn't touch it at first. Just stared at it while a dozen thoughts raced through my head. Savannah told me not to open it. Said it might be some trap, or malware, or just another way Kayla could burrow back under my skin. But I couldn't leave it alone. Curiosity is a dangerous thing. Especially when it's dressed like closure. I booted up an old laptop, one I hadn't used in years, and plugged the flash drive in. One folder. Named, Before You Forget. Inside, there were dozens of video clips. Most of them security camera footage, all time-stamped from nearly a decade ago. I recognized the locations. Our old apartment building, the diner I worked at during college, even the tiny bookstore where I used to study during long nights. She'd been filming me. Even back then. Clip after clip showed me exhausted, working late, sleeping in my car, even crying silently in stairwells. And in some of them, Kayla. Just watching. Never approaching. Just filming. The audio on one was her whispering. He doesn't know I'm here. He never did. But he's still mine. My hands started to shake. It wasn't just delusion, it was obsession from the beginning. The last file was a video of her talking directly to the camera. I know you hate me now, she said. Her face was gaunt, pale. But you need to understand, I saw you before anyone else did. I loved you when you were nothing. I believed in you when no one else would. She smiled, but it wasn't the soft kind. It was warped. Hollow. You owe me. I shut the laptop. Burned the flash drive. And that night, I made a decision. This story wasn't about her anymore. It wasn't about revenge. Or exposure. Or trying to explain my side of things. It was about control. Reclaiming it. I called Savannah. Told her everything. Played the last audio for her on speaker. And for the first time, I saw a flicker of fear in her eyes. Not of me, but of what we were really dealing with. We hired a private investigator. Got the full legal team involved. And within a week, Kayla was served with a court-ordered psychological evaluation and a cease and desist. I didn't care if it held. I just wanted a paper trail. I wanted someone, anyone, to see what she was before someone else ended up where I had been. Weeks passed. No more messages. No more footage. It felt like the eye of the storm, but I took the silence for what it was, peace, however temporary. Fast forward to now. I'm engaged. Not to Savannah, we broke it off a year later. Amicably. She said she needed someone who didn't carry ghosts into every room. I understood. I wasn't ready then. But now? I'm different. Smarter. Sharper. Whole. The new woman in my life doesn't know Kayla. Doesn't ask about her. She only knows the man I became after surviving her. Sometimes I think about that flash drive. The footage. The whispers. And I wonder if that version of me, the one she filmed, the one crying in stairwells, would even recognize who I am now. Maybe not. But one thing's certain. I don't owe Kayla a damn thing. She gave me heartbreak. I turned it into armor. And now? Now I don't just survive, I thrive.